Hi, ladies. How are you? Let me make sure. I need to clean my glasses. I hope everybody's doing great. I can't wait to catch up with you. Hold on. I'm going to hit the refresh. Miss Leslie just wrote me, and she is sick tonight. She's in Texas, and she helps us out on the Technique Tuesdays if you're new to us. And she's sick tonight. So I feel bad. So I have to put her in my prayers that she gets well as well. I think she's visiting her grandchildren. Here we are. So say hello as you're driving, as you're jumping in. Say hi. I hope some of you have time tonight. We're just gonna do some back to the basics. I see some of you jumping on. So say hello as you're getting on. Hope everybody's doing great. And I hope everybody's getting better. I know we had a bunch of people sick in the membership as well, so it must be going throughout the country. So I hope everybody's getting better. Hi, Susan. How are you? You're always so nice. Thank you. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Trisha. How are you guys? Hi, Tammy. How are you doing? Nice to see you, ladies. Are you guys having a good week so far? Everything going good? Good evening. So I started filming again. I have all my hair again. So I filmed the bunny gnome. This one was quick. It was like an hour, so that was really fast. And then we do have the bulldog. So that's filmed now. What I'm filming, I'm going to film one of these tonight. So I'm going to do the bunny or the tulips tonight. And then I'm going to do the other one after I get back from teaching the schools tomorrow. So we're going to get all those in. This we rescheduled for next Tuesday and Thursday, okay? You're waving. Hi, Kathy. I love that. Hi, Sydney Wolf. How are you, my friend? Hi, Carrie. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to. Going okay, really cold. Warmed up here today a little bit. Hi, Tracy Elsie. How are you? Hope everybody's doing great. Thank you so much for your prayers and your well wishes. I'm so grateful to feel better. Hi, Kimmy. How are you? I think that we're supposed to get more cold weather too. I'm pretty sure. I think so. Listen, for those of you who didn't hear me say this before, whenever I was sick and I didn't paint for I think it was 8 days. Right before, hi, Luann. How are you? Hi, Althea. How are you? Althea from Atlanta. Tulips for March or earlier. So you're going to get both of these for March 1st. But I'm going to film them in between tonight and tomorrow. If you need anything early, let us know. Hi, Donna. How are you? Hi, Carrie. 50 degrees in Minnesota. I think we were close to that today, too. And I'm okay with that. Oh, thanks so much, Kathy. I missed you guys, too. I've never been out like that, ever, ever, ever. So my husband was like, this is his theory. It's not just that I have a spinal cord injury. I had a series of sinus infections, so I went on antibiotics 2 or 3 times. He thinks it killed my immune system. And so, Laura, hi Laura, how are you? And so he wants me to build up my gut biome again. So I've been drinking bone broth and eating sauerkraut, and he wants me to eat yogurt, but I'm not a yogurt person. So I don't know. I don't want to get sick again. I have to tell you, I've been teaching in the studio for the last couple of days, and I'm I am a hugger. I always turn to the side so no one touches my back, but I'm still a hugger, and I'm I can't hug you. I can't get sick while I'm recovering. So I've never been like that my whole life. Hi Teresa, how are you? Nice to see you. So, but I want to show you, just a plain Ziploc bag like this kept my paints fresh for 8 days. I actually used them for 8 days prior. I couldn't believe it. It was just so soft. It was crazy, So this is where I was painting with the bulldog plate here, and I just put one more paint on there, the mint green, and then I put a bunch of colors on this plate. And we're gonna use any colors because we're gonna work on a few different things, okay? Also, I'm on the 6th week of antibiotics for a tooth infection. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. You better keep yourself safe over there. Every sniffle you run, I'm telling you, I've never been worried about germs, ever, and maybe when COVID first came out. And then I always felt I was pretty healthy and outside of the spinal cord injury, but I meant getting sick wise, but not this time. So now I'm a little fearful, a little bit. Oh, let me see. Oh, you're welcome, Paula. No, that's okay that you didn't see the search column. You're totally fine. Get out of here. You listen, learning something new all the time is a pain. So I get it. It's hard to find things. So ask me anytime. You've been sick for over 4 weeks. Oh my gosh, I hope you feel better. Activa probiotic dailies. They're delicious. Drink 2 or 3 a day. Oh, I'll look into that. Thank you so much. There's a reason why I don't eat yogurt. My grandpa, Boyd, he used to own a dairy and he would tell me stuff about chocolate milk and yogurt. It's still not the same today. Like everything's fine today, but it's still stuck in my head. Hi, Lisa. How are you? I hope you feel better, Laura. That's a long time. I'll put you in my prayers for sure. Hey, Diana Davis. How are you doing? I hope everybody's doing great. It's so nice to see you today. I'm so happy you're here. Like I said, I just have a bunch of paints. I have a bunch of brushes we're going to go through, like just basic things together. I'm going to get back to this. I feel so bad. We had a few people teach this and didn't have the tutorial. They came out beautiful, but I'm really sorry about that. I've never canceled a tutorial like that, so I apologize. You guys did a great job. Hi, Pam Stewart. How are you? I hope you guys are doing great. So I put a ton of brushes here. I have all different paint colors. If you're new to us and you have craft paints, it's totally fine. So don't worry. We don't want you to buy all new stuff. So don't do that. In our membership in our library, if you click on a tutorial, on the left-hand side, you click on paints, it has color swatches. So you can just match up your paints there, or we can show you how to mix them. But I do always suggest getting a thick white. Okay, I like Lucas, but there's all kind of brands out there of thicker whites. There's Creative Inspirations, but those are the two I use. Also here, I want to show you too, I am using brush cleaner all the time now. It is keeping my brushes smoother, nicer, flatter. This is that one from Zem. And they're inexpensive too. And this is lasting me. He sent these containers to me. I put them on all my sinks. And he sent this to me like months and months ago. And it's still, you know how much I paint. And so, so worth it. I think they're like $6 or $7. So, it's just called the Masters brush cleaner. Look, I'm so blind. So I just want to show you that. And then another product that I use if the canvases are really, really dry, this probably lasts you for 10 years, so look for a little bottle, is this golden retarder. Okay, so sometimes use it, not often. It depends on how dry the canvas is. Okay, and then if you guys have any questions, I don't have real quick, what makes terracotta? So terracotta, do you want me to get the terracotta so everybody can see what terracotta is? So I'll get that first. Okay. So this is terracotta. Of course, dripped paint the whole way down. I do love this color. It's in a few of our paintings. It's really pretty. So you can mix a little bit of, I'd say if you have burnt sienna, I would use that. A little bit of red and a little bit of white is what I would use. If not, you can use a red, dark brown, Van Dyke brown, and some white, and you can get it. It'd just be more of the ratio of the red, and you have less if you're with burnt sienna to make this, okay? But yeah, it's a really pretty color. It's a pretty color to add to spring things too. Hi, Mary. How are you? I hope everybody's doing great today. Thanks so much for jumping on. So this is just going to be back to basic strokes. But you know how the reason why I'm going to do it, I know so many of you have been with us since the beginning as well, but we also have new people. But also when you see something repetitively, sometimes it clicks later on down the road. And so that's why I always think it's every once in a while. Hi, Debbie. How are you? It's nice to get back to the basics, and then one thing it might be like, oh, there it is. And so I do think it's good to do things repetitively. Let me see. You can't find it anywhere. I didn't know that. I think we only have a couple bottles left at the studio too. I have to tell you that I did put an inquiry into Lucas Paints to see if we can be a retailer for them. And so I'm waiting to hear back. They're based out of Germany. Jerry's Art Aroma does have the market for the United States, it seems. So I don't know how much of a chance, but it's always worth asking. So I asked. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. Hi, Vicky. How are you? Glad to see this refresher class. I'm glad. Yay. Cindy, I'll check it out too and see what I can find. All right. I'm going to go to my easel, but I'm going to start with some basics. Let's start with like some dry brushing first. Okay. Because I know we have a lot of tutorials where it's not Tuesday without you. You're so nice. You're so nice. I'm so happy to be here. I have to tell you, I love Tuesdays. I was just talking, Katrina and I, she was our very first member, and she's like become family. And so we were talking on the phone the other night, and we were catching up and stuff. And it's just so lovely. I was telling her that when I paint with you guys, it's just so relaxing. I love it so much. And I do love that teaching in the studio, don't get me wrong, but I love our group. She says it too. We all do. Like, we're so fortunate. I was just talking to Haley about that too the other day. So there's Katrina Pratt. I was just talking about you. How are you? What are you up to with Germany? I was trying to, so I put an inquiry in to try to become a retailer for Lucas Paints. And so we can see what we can do with that. I don't know though, because Jerry's on Ramos does seem to have like the whole country. So we'll see. But I love to talking to you, my friend Katrina. She's awesome. She's such a bright light. You'll love her. We have a video of her on our site, like right when we first, from the beginning, right, Katrina? So if I miss a comment, I'm going to try to keep like glancing over, okay? So if I miss a comment, if you can repeat it or I can come back to it at the end, okay? Because Miss Leslie just wrote me right beforehand and told me that she was sick, and I did not want her to worry, you know? So let's just work on a little dry brushing, okay? So what shape should we make, you know? We can even just make a circle. Okay, so I just have my lovely chalk pencil here. All right, so we're just gonna make a circle, and then I'm just gonna get my 1/2-inch flat brush. I really wanted to, Jerry's is hoarding Lucas. They are Kathy. You can't get it anywhere else. If you get it on Amazon, it's from them too. It's just more expensive. But I'm going to work with my 1/2-inch flat brush. And the other thing is, for the brushes, our brush supplier is over in Europe for 3 weeks in February, and the rest of our bristles are supposed to come in March. So I'm so excited about the brush line. I can't tell you. Okay, so let's work on dry brushing. So I'm going to wet my brush, but when I do that, I'm going to dry it off completely. I want no water in it. And also when I wet it, I'm not putting the metal in, so it's not holding water, okay? It was so lovely catching up. Let's go back to the basics. I need it. Oh, hi, Lisa Bash. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do every once in a while, huh, Katrina? Okay, and she's a beautiful artist too. You all are. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to use my 1/2-inch brush. I want it really dry, okay? Sometimes after I grab my paint, then I dry it off again. So I'm just going to get a little magenta, maybe put a little bit of my my rose on my tip, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk a little bit about just basic strokes, okay, for dry brushing. But first, to make an edge, okay? When you're making an edge, you want to press a little bit harder around the edge with the skinny part of the brush, okay? Also, never outline something all together in acrylics, all right? Never, never, never. Hold your brush down by the middle. Don't hold it back here, okay? Down by the middle, right? Every stroke we make, we are, say it with me, we're lifting off, okay? So I'm lifting off because I want a feathered mark. We're dry brushing because we want to build this up, okay? Build it up, build it up. All right. So I'm going to pull around here. And I'm using, so this is what's so important. So important. You love new brushes. Hope yours are the best. Thank you so much. I love new brushes too. I have to tell you, I've been like a kid in the candy store with Zen giving me all those brushes. And now they sent me all these new palette knives to try that are a completely different shape. And so I'm excited to try those too. I'll have to show you. And it's almost like a big butter knife. And I have some of them, but I haven't used them for anything. So now I'm going to have to do like a big, maybe we'll do a big birch painting with with big, thick trees. So when I'm laying this down, I'm using the back of my brush. Back, you're holding it like this, lifting off. Angle, don't go straight up and down, okay? And this is going to be patchy initially, okay? Get that chunk of paint out of there. Okay, and then I'm going to come around this way. And also, I want you to feel free to don't feel like you're stuck at your easel. I paint like this because of the spinal cord injury, but some people like to hold their canvas. Some people like to paint flat. You need to paint how you're comfortable. Also, if you need to flip it around, then do that, okay? So I'm going to just pretend my light source is coming in this way, okay? You love brushes and palette knives. I do too. Hi, Lynn from Nebraska. How are you? And Susan, how's that new grandbaby? Oh my gosh. Susan, are you coming in for Members Weekend? Ladies, I'm so sorry. I'm putting together an entire email with all the information for Members Weekend. So we're going to be doing that. We also have a good handful of people that are asking if a family member can come and participate. Yes, they can. I would suggest buying 2 tickets at one time instead of 2 separate tickets, because what we're having to do is create a second account for that's just for that. If you're doing the subscription, the 4 payments. So if you're doing that, you have to do like a separate account that maybe you won't use for anything else, just for the payment. So your payment processor doesn't think it's a duplicate subscription, because they call those 4 payments subscriptions, like that end in 4 months, you know. But I'm going to send out an email. It's just been busy trying to catch up and get everything filmed. But I'm going to send out an email with all the information. Katrina and I talked for quite a while about Members Weekend the other day. And she had some great ideas as well. We're going to create, as we get closer to, like a group, like a chat room that you can go in, and we're going to put all the information of, you know, certain people flying in at a certain time, or people maybe have cars that have offered to drive people from the airport or to ride with one another from a certain city, because we have people from all over. Okay, so we have our circle there. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to wipe that off on my paint towel. I'm going to grab a little bit of white, maybe with a lighter pink. Okay, we're going to build this up. See how there's hardly any paint on here. All right, you really can't tell which way the brush strokes are going. I love the grip you have on that brush. Oh, are they color coordinated to the size or style of the brush? That should make finding the one you're looking for easier. So hold on one second. What were you saying about not outlining with acrylics? I'm so sorry I missed that. That's okay, Trisha. Lisa, I'll get back to you in 1 second. Trisha, don't ever outline something, especially if it's larger. Like, don't do the whole outline first, because acrylics dry so fast. You won't be able to blend out the edges. So only like outline where you're at. So what I do is I start like on one area here. And then what I do is I blend it out while I'm here. Okay, so I would never go and outline the whole circle and then come back and blend it out, because it's much easier to work wet on wet when the paint is wet to move it around. Okay, that's all. So Lisa, back to your question. So initially I wanted all silver brushes with pink lettering on them, and now I think of like how with the brushes, if you do have a different color, a different mark on them, it is easier to grab them. And so where I was coming across that is Zen was sending me a whole bunch of brushes that were, you know, this style was all in this shade, and, you know, orange handles, silver handles, black handles. And when I had them all in my cup together, it was hard to find them. So I'm kind of changing my thought process on it a little bit. I wanted them all matchy, but, you know, what do you guys think about that? Baby girl's doing much better after a bout of RSV. Oh my gosh. March 20th to 27th. I'll definitely see you when you come, and you're coming in September. That's awesome. So remind me when text me at some point and tell me that, so I can put it in my calendar and we can make some plans while you're here. Okay. Susan, when she was here last time, she got to take, I think it was like 4 classes in a row, and we got to spend a lot of time together. So it was really nice. Now I'm taking my pressure off as I'm coming over to this side. I want the darkness to kind of show through. Okay, so I'm using the back of the brush, I'm not using the tip, I'm using the back. Okay, I gotta see that baby sometime, you know. I actually haven't seen her since she had, it's funny, Susan's family comes to the studio. They have since I started, and that's how I met Susan, and she's in Florida. So when she visits, she comes to the studio and she gets to paint and hang out. Okay, so a little bit brighter towards the top. But do you see how you just build that little by little by little? Very light touch. And see the feathered mark, okay? Because when you press hard, or you have your brush straight up and down, you're going to have a lot more marks, okay? So, and you just start building, you always start on the brighter side, take your pressure off as you come down, okay? So, something like that, all right? You guys good with that? Once you get in something like that too, so I'm gonna throw my cup, I'm gonna grab a script liner, okay? Let me see, I grabbed like a million brushes, hold on a second. So I have a couple different script liners here. So I was always loving the golden Taklon. And like when they would go on sale, I'd buy like 200 of them. So they're on the kits and stuff. Now, Zem sent me this classroom script liner. I like this too. So much I'm torn. Hi, Lucy. How are you feeling? I'm so glad you were on. I hope you're feeling better today. So I'm going to get my, my script liner. Okay, and I'm just going to get a little bit of white. Anytime you use the script liner, guys, you want to water it down, whether you're highlighting with white or you're using black to put in some lowlights. You want to water it down, and then you're going to roll it to a point, okay? Roll it to a point. So the other thing that I would do is something like this. Say I was just even like, we were working on like a moon or a planet. We actually had, with whole preschool coming in, where we're doing that outer space. Painting that I have in the Grab and Go, and so there's some planets in there. Did you guys see the Mommy and Me class, or was that yesterday? My days run together. I think it was yesterday. So when I come down here, it's just a very fine line. Don't start with your white down here. I'd rather use a very small amount of paint than a lot, you know, and build it up. And then you can take your cloth with a little bit of water when this is dry, and you can wipe off your chalk, okay? But that's, I'm just showing like basics of dry brushing. We're not going to create like a scene or anything. So I'm going to show you different strokes, okay? You can always go and wipe this off. Just make sure it's dry. And your chalk comes right off. Especially when I'm highlighting something, I want to get that chalk off of there to make sure that some of that isn't just the pencil. You know what I mean? And it's all paint around the edge. Hey, Cindy Zuza, how are you? Oh, I'm glad you're good, Lucy. Yay. How are you doing, Cindy? Okay, so let's go to, we're going to do a couple different things today, okay? So let's make some leaves. Luann, are you on? Brush buddy. Oh, I love that. So I'm just going to get a round brush, okay? Let me see what other round brushes I have here. I'm just going to grab a couple. I have to tell you, I was talking to them about this. Try to brush fall and paint. Okay, that this, you can't even tell I used it so much. This is a red handle. And this is synthetic mongoose. And I love it. It has a nice tip on it and everything. But any brush with a point that we can make our leaves with, okay? So I'm going to show you simple ways of making some leaves. I'm going to go to this plate that I did the bulldog on. Look at all that paint. Usually I'll sometimes scoop it back in a jar, but I thought if I can keep throwing that, you know, that Ziploc bag on there. You're here and watching. Luann, are you ready? We're going to make some leaves together. She's conquered the leaves, I'm telling you. You need a refresh. And I think it's a good idea to do it. I think repetitiveness really helps too, you know. Getting to love palette. Oh, I was going to show you these palette knives he sent me to try, okay? He didn't just send one. He sent his whole box. He's probably thinking I'm going to use them in a class. But look at these palette knives. These are like heavy duty. Holy moly. It's like a giant heavy butter knife. So I think we're going to have to make some really nice birches with this. That's what I think. Look at that. These are really nice. I have to create with it. He sends me this big box of them. So every time we get a box from him, and, my husband's dying, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna make something new." So funny. Okay, Luann, I'll quit rambling. All right. So generally, when I'm making leaves, I love to put Viridian and black together. Okay, for my base color. All right. You water down the base color. Okay. Water down. You can do this on white or black canvas. We'll just stick with the black since we're right here. Either one, it doesn't matter. Okay, I want you to be able to see that there. Water down, water down. All right, so you have this dark base down here, teal. Now you can do this with sap green and a little bit of black also. I like the idea of the handle being matchy, but the different colored grips. Ooh, that's a great idea. Now, I didn't look at any grips when I was there. Or you mean down here, like the metal grips. But if it's in your cup, you won't see that. To think about it. Or maybe you could just make a little ring around here, you know, like at the top. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, the kiddos definitely know them by color. They do like things like that. Use the joy of painting comes much easier when you use nice brushes. It does. I agree. Huge palette knife. I know, right? Cut the cake. That's what it looks like. Rip it off. I love it. Ice cakes with those. I know. Listen, I don't think I have any palette knives this big. Like, they're giant stainless steel. You know, they're we're gonna figure out something. We gotta use it. Okay, so here, you could do this with sap green too, but I like this eucalyptus-y color. Then I have my mint green here. If you don't have mint green, you can always just, you can use a little bit of white in your sap green or white in your middle green. This is sap green over here. It's darker green, okay? If you don't have sap green, you always can put black into your middle green and make sap green. So I'm gonna get that mint green, tap it off, and then I'm gonna get some white and tap it off, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out on the edge, swoop around. Do you want me to zoom in? I'm going to go on this edge and I'm going to swoop around. So this side should need one more stroke in the middle, okay? And I'm going to go back to my watered down pile and I'll keep adding water to it. Let me zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, actually, I sometimes put the leaves in first, sometimes put the stem in first, but I think that you would appreciate putting the stem in first. So I'm gonna get my script liner, okay? I'm gonna put a little bit of a stem in here, alrighty? So, and then we can put the rest of the leaves in. So I'm just gonna put something for you to follow. Maybe we'll put, you know, a couple like this, okay? My swooping needs You're so funny. Not crazy about the flat palette knives. I also make cakes and prefer the offset handles. No way. I'm terrible at making cakes and icing. You'd be shocked. It's bad. It says made. All of our brushes will be made right here. They're 30 minutes from us. They make them all right here. So it's very exciting. The palette knives, though, I think he has shipped in. He doesn't make them. So let me look at them. Yeah, this one's made in Japan. So yeah, look, there's a little sticker right there. But all the brushes, he's actually making them. He puts the bristles all together, he puts the metal on, he puts the handles on, everything. So they're definitely gonna be made in the USA brushes, which is great. I can't wait for him to get back, like from Europe. So exciting. I had a daughter that got married over there. So I'm going to get my mint green. I'm gonna get my white and I'm gonna tap it off. I'm gonna find a brush that you like the most for this, you know, so a little bit of pressure. You want chunky paint, chunky, okay? I'm gonna come around the side, pressure, pull in, okay? Simple as that. I'm gonna go back to this pile. I'm gonna get my chunky mint green, my white, tap it off. I'm gonna come to this side and swoop around. Always start with the side that's facing up on the light a little bit more, okay? I think I like this brush. Believe it or not, a little bit better for my leaves. I always tend to go back to the Art Supply round brush for my leaves. I don't know, I like the shape. It's a little stiffer also. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at my point. I'm gonna pull, of course I pick one that has a ragged point on it. And I'm gonna pull it around, okay? So we go back to our dark pile. Get our mint green, our white, tap it off, okay? So I'm gonna come here. And so when you're making leaves, you can go make them directly across from each other. You can stagger them. You know, leaves are all different. All right, I'm gonna come right here, pull this around, okay? So that's one way of making leaves, okay? But you can also, I'm gonna go back to my flat brush. I'm gonna show you how to kind of like dry brush a leaf in. Okay. Is the mint green Lucas or Creative Inspirations? It is a Lucas. Yes. Luann, you're so funny about your swooping. Luann was in, what did you just do with all the leaves? We did something with a lot of leaves. I was like, oh my gosh, they're perfect. But she did used to have a little bit of a, like she was scared of them. Poor Luann. I love Luann. Her and her husband are going to be at our big veterans event. We have this veterans event we're doing for free. My uncle and I are putting it together. And it's a big luncheon on Saturday, and we're doing the flag landscape painting with them. So we have 60 veterans coming. But what they don't know, and now I can't say what they're getting because Luann's on, but we're drawing with tickets. We have some huge, big prizes that were donated. And they're just gonna, no one knows. It's so exciting. And then also my uncle had signs made, welcome veterans and everything. So those came to the studio yesterday. The birds wreath, that was it. You did beautiful leaves, Luann. So it's gonna be so wonderful. I can't tell you, we have the therapy dogs coming, and we're gonna try to make it monthly, if not quarterly, if not monthly. So we'll see, but our whole team's going to be there. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm going to make a bigger leaf. I'm going to use my 1/2-inch flat brush. What I did was I took my 2 greens, or you can just use tap green. You take a little mint green and white and tap it off, okay? So start on the side that you think is facing the light more. Little bit of pressure, pull around, okay? And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull towards the middle. I'm going to lift off, all right? Then I'm just going to grab some of the darker color, and I'm going to go around the bottom. I'm going to pull around, lift off towards the middle, okay? Just like that. So you can make leaves just like that. And instead of like doing all the veins, a lot of times I'll just take my white, and I'm going to tap it off, and I'm going to go like right in the middle. If you feel like you need a little bit of darkness in there because you didn't lift off very much, you can wipe off your brush, take your black, and you can get a little bit of a shadow in there, okay? Or you can go as far as to put the veins in there also, okay? It's a little too much black towards the end. But you can also like stagger these if you want to. I'm gonna get a little of my mint green, a little bit of my white. Always tap it off. So when you put, can't wait to paint with the therapy dogs in September. Yes, they are coming to our members weekend. I'm so excited. Do you know what I did too? Less is more when it comes to the leaves. That's so funny. So I invited them all to our treat to the bulldog class for St. Patrick's Day. So I can't wait. So I like to do special things for them because I don't know if anybody knows, they do all that for free out of the goodness of their hearts. Oh, thanks, Susan. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Do your brushes shock us if we don't lift off? That's a great idea. Oh, is there someone else sick? Oh, I must have missed that. I'm sorry. Whoever it is, please feel better soon. Okay, so I like to turn things like to be more comfortable. You know me, okay? So, well, let me do I'll make it like this one's the one on the end. I'll make like a point here. So I'm going to go a little bit of pressure on the edge, swoop in, pull in towards the middle, okay? Pull in towards the middle. And then I'm going to get a little bit more paint. I might have to reshape that a little bit because it got wonky on me. I'm going to go around the bottom. I'm going to pull in towards the middle, okay? Everything's lifting off. I do love the idea of this. Oh, you guys didn't even see that. I'm so sorry. I love the idea. See, I can't zoom in. I love the idea. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put a little white in the middle of the shocking when they don't lift off. That's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to get my greens, maybe both, little mint, little white, tap it off. So if you don't tap it off, yeah, I'm sorry about that. There was a delay on there. I'm so sorry. If you don't tap it off, then you're going to get all one shade. See, I told you that I cannot. I'm just going to overlap these other ones. So I'm just going to pull this down. I'm going to lift off, okay? Then I'm going to go back to my dark green. I'm going to swoop around the bottom. So you apply pressure when you do that. And then you lift off towards the middle, leaving that little bit of darkness. What you're doing when you leave that darkness is you're making it look like it goes in further. Because remember, the darker it is, the further away it looks, okay? So then I get a little bit of white, and I just tap it right down the middle, okay? And pull it back up. And so what I'll do is let me get a script liner line and put it in there for you. You need the shock. That's so funny. I'll try to stay zoomed in. I mean, zoomed in and still so you can see it. I'm really sorry about that. My goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit, I'm gonna make a stem for you, okay? Make sure you guys are seeing, it's actually, there we go, it flipped back to it. I just wanna make sure that nothing was frozen. I had paranoia with the snowstorm the other day. Okay, so when I'm making, using my script liner, you'll see that I do flatten it down also. I not only just would use water, but I try to flatten it. Do you see that? As flat as I can get it, okay? And then I'm gonna use that skinny side, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of a stem in through here, okay? Pull this down just like that. You can make such nice, easy leaves. A lot of times too, after I do that, I'll get a little bit of white, okay? And I'll go and highlight this just a little bit also, so it doesn't, not the same in every spot, because I want to make it look like it's bending also, okay? So I'm going to go back to my flat brush. I'll do a couple more leaves. So then, let me see, the small leaves are good. It's the size you're doing in the swooping that gets you. I'm going to keep doing it, okay? So what we're going to do, let's get our sap green and our middle green, okay? A little bit of mint green, tap it off. A little bit of white, tap it off. This plate's a mess. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the top where the light would be hitting first, okay? So I'm gonna start here, press, 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 and then I'll pull in, lift off, okay? Wipe off your brush a little bit, get your darker shade, and then you're gonna go around the other way. Swoop around this way, pressure, pressure, and then pull in and lift off, okay? Pull in and lift off. And then what I'm gonna do is I take a little bit of white, tap it, go through the middle, just a little bit. I feel like right there it's a little too dark. You can always swoop back through also, like right here. Just wanna go back through that a little bit, okay? So I'll go to the other side. So it's pressure when you're doing that, okay? And you don't have to use the same coloring all the time, so you can change it up a little bit, add a little teal in there. Let me see, I just wanna make sure I'm not missing anything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at the top, pressure. So when you have that pressure going out, 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 just a little bit, okay? Then you're gonna go back and you're gonna pull this towards the center, like that, okay? And then we're gonna go to the bottom. Get your darker colors on the bottom. You still have some of that brightness on the brush, so you don't need any of the white, and then you're gonna pull this in, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my white, tap it off. I feel like I kind of took a little of that out there. I'm gonna tap that through, okay? And then we can bring a script liner line down through here. But these simple strokes will make leaves look very three-dimensional. And you can go over them also. Are you loading two greens on the opposite side of the brush to make this stroke? So I'm using on both sides of the brush, okay? So I'm gonna wipe it off again. And so what I'm gonna do is I take my sap, take my middle green. If you want to, you make a couple leaves that you add a little of your viridian in there. Okay, let's start another little set over here. And take my mint green on the tip and some white. Mint green's not really necessary, you can just do the white, but it's all on one side, but it's layered up there. And you tap it off in between getting the colors, okay? Do you guys want me to zoom out? Is the plate too close? Hey Connie Zek, how are you, my friend? I'm so excited you're coming in the fall. I can't wait to meet you in person. But yeah, so I have it all on one side, okay? So let's go here, pulling around, around, around. How are the kids doing? Lifting off, okay? Wipe off your brush and your paint towel. Go back and just get your greens, no white, okay? And you're gonna have a little bit of pressure, 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 pull in, lift off, okay? Let that be a little bit dark in the middle, okay? Wipe off your brush again, get a little bit of white, and you're gonna tap through. This is a really good thing to learn right now because spring is in the air, it's coming. You've been gone a while. Are you feeling back to normal now? I am, Lucy. I literally just in the last like 3 or 4 days. And it took me a while to breathe well. You know, I wasn't breathing well. And with my spinal cord injury, it's the worst right behind my lungs. My lungs get weak very easy. And this thing, I've never had infection, you know, in my chest immediately. Like it was crazy town. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to start on the left side, pull over, and then lift off with the wide part of the brush, okay? Lift off, lift off. And I'm so grateful to feel better. So I'm glad you're here too. How would you make palm tree leaves? I actually have that on my list in my head. So we're doing that today. We're going to do that with the rake brush. We'll do that next. Okay, I'm going to pull this in and lift off. Okay, and then I go back, just get a little bit of white. Make sure you're using a brush. Whoops, this is a little too much white. Easy to fix. Make sure that you're using a brush that has a good edge on it, okay? So I'm just gonna touch that, okay? And so let's make some palm trees. I do love to make some palm trees. Let me get a white. Is everybody okay on the leaves? Those two types of leaves. Dry brushing, real little planet there. I had the worst nose burn I've ever had, lost taste, but I think it's coming back now. Oh, thank goodness. I had that one of the first times I had COVID when Mark got it in the hospital. It's a flat brush, best for leaves, or is round better? I would use a flat if you're working with a little bit larger leaves. These little tiny leaves, I would definitely use a round brush. So just get your feel. You can go smaller than this. Let me do one more. I'll do a little bit smaller with the flat brush. Anytime I can use a bigger brush, I like to use it. So I'm going to add some teal to this one and say we're going to leave the mint off, okay? But you can do a little bit smaller also. It doesn't have to be like that giant one. So it can be like this size. And then wipe the white off. And you can pull around this way, you know, but it's also like what you're comfortable with. Of course, my brush split right there. So, but I do think that anything like maybe underneath this needs to be in this side, you know, in with your round brush, it'll be a lot easier, you know, because this, by the way, anytime your brush does this and starts splitting, this, zoomed in, I stink. And so I'm just going to wiggle it right here. It brings your bristles back together, okay? Also, if you guys haven't heard me say this before, you can boil water, put your brushes straight down in for about 60 seconds, pull all the water out of them, lay them flat, and they'll come back together, okay? So you can do that as well to save your brushes. But I said at the beginning too, I am loving the, brush care product that Zem sent me, you know. But see how you can't get, you know, as I think the little ones are a little bit better with the round brush. But when you get a little bit bigger, you definitely want to use, it's only a couple strokes with the flat brush, okay? So I'm gonna throw that in my cup. Let's work on some palm leaves. I love palm leaves. Okay. We can dream of the warm weather. All right, so I'm gonna get, let's see. Ooh, I think we should make a couple like little hydrangea flowers and stuff today too. What do you think? Okay, so I have a couple different rake brushes here. Let me get a smaller one too, so you can see. So I prefer the 1/2-inch flat. These are both 1/2-inch flats, okay? This one, it's destroyed. This is a Dazem one too. This is a Golden Taklon. This is a 1/4 inch. A lot of people like the 1/4 inches. I'm gonna have to zoom out because I feel like I'm just gonna keep going out on you. Sorry. Oh, and I can put the light on behind me. That would be good also. Plugging you in would be good. That everything charges today. There we go. That'll be a little bit better. Plus my shadows in it. Let's see. You can see a little bit of a shadow. I might have to turn it down. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to use the 1/2-inch. So once I started kind of forcing people to studio, because we have both sizes, yes, we'll do hydrangeas for sure. And Lucy, I hope you continue to feel better every day. Once I kind of forced these new brushes on them, I got all the 1/2 inches for everybody. And I think it's when we did Santa, I wanted everybody to use a big brush, no small brushes. And then they like them. So I don't know what I was drawing on there. So first let's get a flat brush and let's put in a trunk just in black, okay? I think I'm gonna have to get more black, because we're going to use black to do our palm leaves just to show shapes, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this vertically, skinny way up, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a little lighter. I'm going to apply pressure as I come down. Of course, it's going to be one of those canvases that beat up. You guys have this before where like when you're putting watered down paint on it, it beads up like this? Did I ever tell you what the manufacturer told me it was? They said with the plastic, this is why every canvas in a box won't be like this, and it's usually the ones closer to the ends of the box. He said it has to do with the heat on the trucks and in the containers. And so the plastic actually kind of gets into the canvas, and that's why it beads up. And once you get one coat of paint on it, usually it's good. But I remember one time we had such a huge shipment of canvases coming in, and we had tons like that. And usually I'm not a complainer. If it's a couple of things, I'm like, it'll be fine. I just have to put in a little ground. I know the ground won't be black, but I need something to ground it a little bit. And, but that's what, it was Jerry's manager who had told me that. So now I'm going to get a little bit more black, and we're going to make some palm leaves, okay? So for the creative inspiration paints at the studio, I gotta show you. These are so cute. I got these hard 2-ounce containers for chipping paint, for kits when they need like a large amount of like texture or something. So I started bringing them home in these containers, and I love them. Lucas bottles, I just bring the bottles home, but the ones that come in the big jugs, these 2 ounces are lasting me like forever. So, they're nice. I got them on, those ones on Amazon are actually as cheap as the other suppliers, like when you buy things in bulk. And you can just put in 2-ounce sample containers, and you can find these hard ones. They cost, I think, about 50 cents each. Okay, so I have some black. I'm going to water down a little bit of black. And then let me get my rake brush. Where did I set it when I got up? There we go. Okay. Okay, you guys still with me? I feel like I have to refresh. Say yes if you're with me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll keep looking for it. I'm going to get my black, and I'm going to water it down. All right, I'm using my 1/2-inch flat rake brush. Okay, if you don't have a rake brush, you don't have to buy one. We have videos on how to cut a rake brush. It takes 2 minutes. So if you need the video and you can't find it in the vault, please let us know, okay? Yes, okay, good. Thanks, Lynn, I appreciate it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my first like palm leaf. Oh, this canvas is terrible. Do you see that? Look how that's bubbling up. I actually might switch to a different canvas because I don't want to be dealing with it the whole time. Let's see. Yeah, I might switch. Okay, let me grab another canvas. Generally it is these 12 by 12 whites that come a little bit drier for some reason too. Okay, sorry, I opened the pack. I'm like, I only opened one for that same exact size. Okay. Watch it be just as dry. I'm sorry about that. Okay, you guys are with me. There was just a delay. Thank you so much, ladies. Okay, I'm just going to use this rake brush to put in my trunk. You can do the same thing with the rake brush to put in your trunk. So a little bit thinner at the top, a little bit wider as you go down. Look at the difference when it doesn't bead up. You do not want to deal with that. A little bit wider at the bottom. If you're not watering down your paint, it generally won't bead up too much. But if you're using water and there's a canvas like that, oh my gosh, it's such a pain. Okay, so first thing we're going to do Is the rake brush easier than the fan brush? I have a hard time with fans and controlling the length of the stroke. I have always found that the rake brush is easier for palm leaves, but it is a personal preference. I definitely feel like I have more control. It comes out a little bit neater. If you've had a really, really dry canvas, would it be better if you put a coat of white gesso on it before you start painting? Yes, it would help you. Even though they're supposed to be gessoed, it would help you to put a coat of paint on it for sure. Yeah, because that's what you're doing is you're getting that base on there. So that's a great, great, great question. Okay, so I'm going to use the skinny part of my rake brush, all right? Skinny, skinny. I'm going to make my curve, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top, pull down, lift off, lift off, lift off, okay? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this side, and I'm going to lift off, lift off, lift off. So you can show them double-sided, or you can just show them with one side, okay? I'm going to go back. Make sure you have water in this pile. That's really important, okay? So you can turn this so your angle is always really good when you're doing this. And you're not sticking your hand in paint. So I'm going to make my next section, okay? Go back to this and pull down and lift off, lift off, lift off, lift off, lift off, okay? And so say I want this back section here. I'm going to flick this up. Just like this lightest touch. That's why I'm using more of the skinny part of the brush. And then we're making this thinner as we come down here, okay? And then we're going to start working our way around. All right, so I'm going to go around here. I'm going to lift off, lift off, lift off, lift off, okay? And I think we'll have a little bit more going in the wind here too, tiny bit. All right, all palm trees look different too. So you're welcome, Lynn. And so you can have some, and also you can have some, like, these could be like little pieces that they're on the back side, you know what I mean? They're not as, you know, they're not the ones up front. You're seeing them, you know, they're back there. And when you put color on these is when you can make that look further away by leaving a little bit darker, make these ones brighter, okay? So when you're coming up here, you make a decision like, where's it going to kind of like part at, you know? So with this, I can make it like, say this is going to part and start flopping over this way, okay? I'm going to go here, taking the wide part, and towards the end I use more of the thin part, okay? So I'm going to go here. Maybe I'll make a little short one that you're seeing like from behind also, you know? Make that like a little bit more dense. You can actually put a little one right here too. I might turn this way. So this one might be like you're just seeing a little piece of this. Pull over, pull over, pull over, okay? I love to teach palm trees, even at children in our summer camps. They always want to do something with palm trees. Sometimes we'll do them on those little small canvases, and then they can do them with a round brush. They don't need a rake brush whenever they're making them so tiny, you know? So that's also helpful for them. So I'm going to pull this and have that kind of like overlap that. Pull down, pull down, pull down. I actually still have those samples in here that I made for you guys of the palm tree paintings. I'm going to talk to you about like how we can do highlights on them, okay? And low light. I'm actually going to pull another one out here. I'm going to go on that little one that I just did in the back, okay? I just find palm trees are like so relaxing. And you can put those like coconuts in there. You know, you can do your 3 round, you know, pieces like right in through here as well. I'm going to make this a little bit longer here. Okay, this has to do with having water, lifting off, very light touch except for when you're putting that arch in, okay? Does that have any questions? Aw, Cindy, thank you. What size are you using? I'm using a 1/2 inch rake brush. 1/2 inch. And so I do feel like you'll have more control with this, you know, and if you were using a fan brush, I would use something like very small like this, but I don't feel like you'll get as, I know a lot of people use it, but I feel like I have more control with this. You know, I can make a better mark with this. Let me grab, I'm going to grab this for you. So these are the ones that I had painted, I just think it was right before I got sick. And what are some rake brushes? So this one's a Zem, and then this one's a Golden Taklon. They're the only two I've really used. I like the 1/2 inch. People like to, you know, sometimes like a smaller one, which is the 1/4 inch. Oh my gosh, disregard that. Is a rake brush used in the, oh wait, I'm sorry. What size are you using? Did I miss something? I think something got deleted. Sorry. Yeah. I know, I saw the typo. It's totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to set these down for a minute. So this was the easy one I made with the beach, just to like, I was going to practice this with you guys on a Technique Tuesday, okay? And so do you see how I start layering a little bit of middle green? If you have a fluorescent green, it works beautifully with this. If not, you can put a little bit of yellow in your green also. But I tap a little brown in through here. Do you see that? And then I add a little white highlight on here too. You can always add a little bit of like whitish yellowish highlight on there as well. And then I took a step further, okay, and I put this one together where you have a different view where you're kind of like, these are arched out and you're seeing them from underneath. And so this was the first painting I did like that, where you see it from underneath, you know? And so right here, I'm making this a little bit brighter because these little pieces under here are a little bit brighter. So this is where for your little bit of yellow with white and maybe a touch of your middle green in there. But see how I leave the pieces way in the back black? So we have the brighter pieces that are, you know, coming towards you. So everything has, you start with your darker shade and then you add some highlights, but don't highlight the whole thing. It's like where the light would be hitting it, okay? Oh, thank you so much. Well, we all know what you mean, Cindy. Yeah, Cindy, don't worry about that at all. So yeah, so when you're building palm trees, you definitely want to make sure that you're highlighting some, okay? And you're leaving some dark, like don't lose your darkness either, you know, like down here, we still have some of the darkness showing, okay? So we're gonna fit these into Technique Tuesday. I did put this in the grab and go, this one with the stencil and the supplies list and everything, but we're gonna do this one together and then you'll know how to build this one, okay? So I just want to show you that. And then let's go to work with our filbert brush a little bit. Do you guys have a filbert brush? Let's go back over here. Let's work on some flowers. You're so nice. Thank you so much, Lucy. Let me see. Thank you so much, Lynn. So you highlight only the ones where the light hits. Yes. And you need to give the impression that some of these like are further away. So if when I go to paint this, you're going to have a little bit, you know, it's going to be a little darker green on the back side. It's going to, you know, you're going to have some lighter green that's going to touch, you know, say the sun's coming like from behind here. Just try to imagine that. And so you're never going to have a palm leaf where the whole thing is the same shade, because some of it you're going to have light coming through, some of it's going to be on the back side, you know, a little bit further away. So just try to think about that. And it doesn't have to have a rhyme and reason. It's just it's kind of like a flower where the light could hit a little bit more here on this part, maybe a little here on this part, a little bit on this part, you know. So so it is something that it's really forgiving when you start adding those highlights in, okay? Just so I don't put a background in, I'm going on the black. But, of course, you do all your flowers on the light, too, all right? So let's build up a couple of flowers. I'm going to show you some filbert brushes. There's a couple different styles. I'm going to show you. It just depends on what type of flower you want. To grab a whole bunch. Okay. I used to love these ones the most, so like the fat short filberts. You're welcome. Yes, so I used to use like the short ones a lot instead of these long ones, but then you find use for these long ones too that have a little bit of a point depending on the shape of flower that you want to make, okay? And this was a new one we just got from Zem. I think I used it one time. And so let's get cracking. We'll make, you know, I'm going to layer some of these up, okay? I'm going to get maybe some purples and some white, all right? So I'm going to wet it, but I'm going to dry it off pretty good. I'm going to get my Dioxazine Violet, which is a dark purple, all right? I'm going to water that down just a little bit. tiny bit. Not a lot. It was just sticky, that's all. And then I'm going to go and get a little bit of my light purple, okay? This is a layering process. I love, love, love stuff like this. Love, love, love it, okay? So you can decide how many petals you want, okay? So, and you got to remember that I'm going to start with the fatter one. I don't know, like the fatter one. I still love like the fatter, a bit wider. We'll see if it has a nice edge on it. This one's getting pretty frayed. I've used this for like years. Let's see. All right. Look, it's so like it's stiff. It's frayed. And when I first started, I wanted to be able to see it a little bit bigger, so I wanted to use fatter. So I'm just going to pull in from the outside in, okay? Sometimes we're going to have just a couple of petals, and sometimes, because you just see it from the side, you know? And then sometimes you just have like one or so like peeking out. Always start from the outside in. We're going to layer this up. This is a little bit thick to be in this area. We're switching one more time. One more. Okay. Yeah, I just happened to grab ones that are like crunchy. Wasn't always the best with my brush care. I'm getting better. So outside in, you can overlap them because at the end is what's going to count as to how you make it look like a flower, like what you decide is the center of a flower, okay? So over here, I'm just gonna we'll make one bundle in purple and we'll make a bundle in another color, okay? But we're gonna highlight these afterwards. Outside in, always lifting off when you're coming towards the middle so you have that darkness in the middle, okay? Same girl, same. I hope you love fatter people. I'm one of those. Same here, Lucy. So, and listen, I don't ever look at anybody like that. You know how we're hard on ourselves? But I would never. Look at me, I just gained like 35 pounds. I'm using the Filbert brush, which has the rounded tip. I'll show you one without paint on it, okay? And there's all different shapes of them. There's longer pointy ones. There's shorter, fatter ones. These are called Filberts, okay? You're too funny. Oh my gosh. Listen, I have to tell you that I found out that my cream does something to your thyroid, makes your thyroid underactive. I think I told you this, and this is probably why I gained the 35 pounds and the steroids and stuff like that. And, you know, like I went off of it when I was sick, and then my back hurt so bad. I went back on it's a compound cream I put on my back and on my spine. And I was like, the heck with it. Like, this is me. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? So I didn't fit any of my clothes, but what are you gonna do? I'm done obsessing over it, like I'm worrying about it, you know? Okay, so when I get to the edges, how I'm working with a flower is I'm gonna pull in this way, you know? And pull in, lift off, okay? Pull in, lift off. Sometimes on the edges, I'm just gonna have like a couple. I have a couple of suggestions for you when you're like making flowers like this in bundles. They're not perfect. Like, don't make a perfect circle, like on purpose, kind of like make it wonky. I'm gonna show you. I'm just making some softer edges with just my purple. I'm not gonna make my edges real bright because we want our eye to think that that's going back around there, okay? So, but don't like purposely have like, you know, part like coming out a little bit like that. You know, don't make them perfectly circular, because they never are if you look at a bundle of flowers, okay? So once you get this in, what we're gonna do is do you know how to do a snapdragon? I have to look that up. I don't know a lot of names of flowers. I paint flowers. Me too, Lynn said. Cheap filberts on Amazon. Yeah, I've got filberts from Amazon also. You're a chunky monkey. I say the word chunky all the time too, Kathy. I'm chunky. I like chunky paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my purple, I'm going to get my white, and I'm going to lift off. I have to tell you, when I was sick, I lost 10 pounds the first week. I put it back on the second week. I came right back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm not taking out everything that I've done, okay? I am going right inside the edge and I'm going to highlight some. You know with flowers, sometimes like the right side will be up a little bit more than the left side. So you don't have to go and do this to like every single petal. All right. After I do this, what I do is I make a couple even brighter, okay? But I go to like the middle shade, put some light on the top, the lighter shade, put some light on top, and don't make them real bright like towards the edge. Your pressure comes off when you're over there. And this still, you're still going to be like, huh, that really doesn't look like flower yet. I'll show you what brings it all together, okay? Yeah, I can't exercise or anything. This is me. This is it. You know, I was listening to some sort of podcast one night I was up, and it was like, learn to love yourself as you are now, not like be happy when, you know, do all the things. Don't let things hold you back. And it's so true, you know, life is too short for sure. Okay, so I'm just picking and choosing where I'm adding some highlights here and there. We're going to make this center really look like it's coming up towards you here in a minute. Okay, and this is a flicking motion. You're like lifting off, okay? You're not covering everything, still letting some of those other colors like show through, okay? Only thing I lost was taste. It didn't weigh anything, laugh out loud. I think it's because I like couldn't swallow and I didn't leave my bed, you know, initially. If I wasn't using a black background, how would I do it? That is such a great question. And Katrina, I promise I'll look that up for you. You're so funny, Lucy, like funny. If I wasn't using a black background, that's what I do. I'm gonna show you. Let me get this white canvas. Let's use this one that's not holding paint because we're gonna use some thick paint, okay? We can use a little thicker. But I would get my purple and I would get a little bit of black, okay? Sketch out your shape first if you're unsure, okay? Getting a chunk of paint there. Okay, so what I would do is this. All right, and I would put this in first because I have lots of flowers like on white canvases also. But I always get my dark, I take my color and I mix it with black almost all the time, unless you're doing a yellow or a green flower. Well, the green I still mix with black too, but yellow I mix with a little bit of brown. Most of the time, like a little raw sienna, okay? But this is what I put behind it, and I can layer on top of that after it dries. But you have to like let that dry before you go on top of it, okay? So next, what I'm gonna do when I'm working on this, I have to dry this off again, okay? And I'm just gonna get some white, okay? Why am I keeping you? I didn't even know. I have no idea what I'm painting. You guys, like what time it is. No clue. Okay, so I'm going to get just white. I'm going to touch some of these ones that are more prominent on the top. The ones I know that are, you know, they're going to be the ones closest to you. A little bit of white, okay? And I'm just going to flick. Always start with the outside in. Whenever I walk around a classroom, see people are struggling with this, they're going from inside out, okay? And it's a lifting up and off, all right? And then when you come down to the sides, it's much less. It's a little touch. Don't ever start with your new paint on the sides. Always start with your new paint, like when you get paint on your brush, up in here, and then you can, you know, go to the sides, all right? And see how it's like not a perfect shape, you know, it's not perfectly round. It looks like a dragon chomping when you pinch the sides, but they're awesome. Oh, I have to look. I'll probably know it when I see it. You're welcome, Lynn, anytime. Okay, so then I do feel like this is kind of like a gaping hole in here, so I'm gonna add a little color right there. You always want to lean back and take a look at things like this. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a round brush, okay? Any round brush would do. I was looking for like my, you know me, I like this wonky, worn out brush, okay? And so I'm just gonna get a brush with somewhat of a point on the tip. You're gonna go and just make sure you decide which ones it's the center of the flower. This is what really makes it like, there's a center, there's a center, there's a center, there's a center, okay? So you wanna do that. Once that dries, and I'm gonna do it while it dries. I'll do it a little earlier. Generally, you wanna make sure that that dries, okay? Get your script liner, all right? So you can pick any color for the centers of these flowers. So you can pick, sometimes I do 2 colors, but like a fluorescent green looks beautiful, a yellow looks beautiful, a little bit of gold in the middle looks beautiful, but I'm just gonna do white just to show you what I'm gonna do. I'm going in the chunky paint, okay? Chunky. I'm going to tap just right in the middle of the black, okay? And this is why you can layer these on top of one another and then you pick and choose, you know what I mean? Which ones are on the top. You make the decisions, okay? And I try to, you know, refrain from having a pattern. I'll show you that up close. But generally I do put a color in there, okay? Make a lot of flowers like that, all right? Let's do one more thing before we call it a day, okay? Let's use that fan brush, all right? What do you guys think? And then we're gonna do, I wanna do a lot more techniques. I was thinking about this. Oh, I'm gonna turn this off for a second. But I was thinking, did you ever have your chair like sink down and just let down real far? I was thinking that we would get back to some basics, like, and every month have some technique Tuesdays again, not full tutorials. So I was gonna schedule in some more techniques next month. And I was thinking too about doing more of the techniques that are in the painting so we can focus on them a little bit more. Is a rake the same as a grainer brush? Yes, it is. Yes, I believe so. I always call it a rake, but I'm almost 100% sure. I think that's what Zem calls them, is they call them grainer brushes also. But fan brush tree, that's what I was gonna do, Carrie. You read my mind. But I do think, what do you guys, have you ever done hibiscus flowers? I have to look at them, Susan. Now I'm gonna have to look at all my flowers. You know, the sad things, I grew up in the country. Like my dad with stuff like this, he'd be like, oh, like who raised you, you know? Because my mom planted flowers, we weeded flowers, we did everything. And also, when the kids were little, until my son got the, you know, battled that illness, I was the one who was always planting flowers. I was always out there at the greenhouse, you know, went to the greenhouse all the time. I don't know what any flowers are called. Isn't that terrible? I'm gonna get my fan brush, okay? I don't know. Let's work on the stroke with this. We won't do all the colors and all that stuff, but let's work on our stroke. I'll put the light back on, okay? So I will look up the flowers. I love the technique days. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Lisa. We'll do more of it. Hi, Althea. Let me see here. But I'm gonna look up more flowers for you guys, okay? Because I've painted a lot of flowers, so I just can't tell you all the names of them. All right, so let's just go to our rake brush, all right? I mean, our rake brush, our fan brush. Let's get our fan brush, okay? So this one is the 2. I have all different sizes. I didn't pull them all out right here, but I just have the 2 next to me, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my black. So we can just work on like the motion, okay? Yes, techniques, thank you. I've learned so much today. I'm so glad, yay. You're so nice, Donna. Thank you so much. You know, I'm good with flower names. I'd love to photograph them though. I used to take photographs of flowers like when I was in college and stuff. I love that so much. I love technique days, strokes and shadows and shading, and the list goes on. Yay, okay, so we're gonna do more of that. We definitely are. So I'm gonna pull out my black, all right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'll probably overlap. Let's go this way, we have a bigger space. All right. Maybe just some of this paint. Okay. All right, so we're watering this down, all right? I usually start out the base, either I have sap green in there, or I have teal in there, and I keep it really dark because evergreens are really dark, okay? Oh, I'm glad, Althea, yay. Okay, so, but we're just gonna do black to work on the shape, all right? So first I hold it straight up and down. And what I'll do is I'll mark where I want it to like start and stop, okay? You don't even have to go the whole way down to the bottom, but at least like, you know, get a little bit of a line in there, okay? You can always keep your tree going further. So what I want you to look at is I'm using the corners most of the time, okay? So especially when you start on the top, this is the part that scares people the most. You can always use a round brush here if you wanted to. I'm just using the corner of my brush, corner, all right? And I'll end up using a little bit more of my brush as I go down further, but, and I know Bob zigzags back and forth. I don't do it like him. But, okay, so once I start getting down here, we want a little bit darker in the middle, okay? And remember, like, evergreens are not perfect. They are not, so don't worry about making them perfect. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to start stamping it just straight on and making a line straight on. Take the time to curve it, you know? You'll have pine trees that, like, go up and then start coming down. You have a few that go down first. I have, you know, tutorials with them going down. I find more than ever that the trees like start like an upward angle like this, okay? And then the weight can weight them down a little bit as you go down further on the tree. But I'm going to tap a little bit more in the center because it's more dense in there, okay? You know, think of how you're looking at it. I'm going to show you how a lot of people tend to make the trees that I try my best to break them off, okay? So this edge doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And then you can tap a little in the middle, but I'm using like the corner of my brush the most, all right? So this is a pretty full tree, all right? This is over here in front of the camera on this side. I have to probably move this down a little bit. I'm making it a little bit wider as I go down, okay? We'll add some highlights to this so you can see it too. All right. I'm just scuffing and then going down. Look a lot better if we had some color behind here, okay? But what people tend to do is they want to do this. They want to go like this. So you have your line and they just want to split it right down the middle. Very, very common. I almost think someone teaches this in elementary school or something, but when I split it down the middle, it's a normal thing. So don't feel bad if you do this. But very, very rarely do you ever see a tree that's just split down the middle. You see the whole trunk, you know. Believe it or not, my neighbor has one that's missing the whole part facing us, so it is kind of like that. Waterfalls would be great. Yes, we can add that on too. I love painting waterfalls. I actually just gave Nikki loves one that I had in oils in the studio on the wall, and she wanted to buy it, so I just gave it to her. But I love waterfalls too, so I'll put that on our list for sure. Great idea, ladies. Great idea. Technique Tuesday is like painting with your friend, where you just do different things for the fun of it. I love it too. I do. I love it. And we couldn't like have a better group to paint with, you know? It's always so nice. So a lot of times I'm tapping this in, you know, in the middle. I'm still using like the corner of my brush, you know, and then as I get to the sides, I'll make, you know, I'll make one short, one longer, one short, one longer, okay? So then I have this camera right in front of me right here. You're gonna decide like where your tree is gonna stop, okay? And a lot of times you'll see too, I like change it up a little bit and I flick up when I'm painting my trees. So you'll see like, especially when I'm putting highlights on, like I'll just like flick up just a little bit like that. All right, so I do that also. Okay. So you can work on your shapes like that, okay? And then whatever, like if it's snowing, or it depends on like how you would have the ground down here. You would have shadow, of course, coming out from under a tree. And yeah, I love the idea of doing some waterfalls together because I love waterfalls, okay? So when you highlight this, your darkness is gonna peek through. So this is where, fan brush. Yes, the fan brush is best to use on waterfalls for sure. And water, like I love making waterfalls and streams and things like that. I said I was gonna get back to the landscapes. I need to do more, huh? And more landscapes, waterfalls and mountains, right? On techniques. You're welcome, Eve. I'm so glad you're here. But yeah, we can definitely do that. So whenever you're done with that, like generally I would wait until this is dry to highlight this, but you can take a little bit of sky blue, you can use white for snow, you can use a little bit of your green color to put in. Let's do that. Let's use a little bit of our Viridian and our sap. This is wet, so it's not going to be like fantastic. Okay. I don't know if that was my dog or my son. Nelson's dog. So it could muddy up. You never want to do this while it's wet. Generally, you can move on to another part of the painting. But what you can do is, say it's not snowing, okay? You can get a little bit of your green. Let me flatten this out just a little bit. It's a little frayed right there. I'm going to flatten that out just a tiny bit, because with these hog bristle brushes, oh, I need to show you the brushes not to use for this, by the way, okay? Because there's brushes that don't work as well. Stick to the rivers and the lakes you're used to. Now you got me saying field flowers, just to give chasing waterfalls. Now I see it. Oh, that's so funny. I think of songs all the time when I say stuff too. So I'm just going to add like a couple of like, highlights. So this is what I'm telling you not to do, okay? But stick around for 1 second, because I'm going to show you what brush not to use, all right? Whenever you're doing this, I want you to go like up and down. I want you to scatter these marks, okay? Up and down. Don't make a pattern. And the reason why you don't want to go straight across is you're not going to see the limb straight across. You have like a branch here, a branch here, a branch here, okay? So make sure that you are scattering this a little bit, okay? And then you see how you still leave, I'm tapping this, okay? Still leave your darkness showing through. Don't lose all your darkness, but if you do, you can put it back in. It's really easy. But people with OCD, you gotta force yourself, go up and down, you know, make sure that you're not keeping that straight across. Edges on this, you would just, like, you can touch up edges. Fan brushes, you know, sometimes leave a little bit of a messy, edge there. It's very easy to clean up, especially if you have a color on there. I'll hold this up a little closer so you can see it. Okay, a lot of times too, what I'll do, and then you can snow it if you wanted to, I'll take a little bit of white and I just kind of like skip through, you know, just through here a little bit to give the impression that there's a, you know, there's a trunk in there somewhere, so you can do that, okay? But yeah, practice your trees. They're so much fun. I think that you would like them, you know? Your trees will lose you. They will, I promise, you know? Kathy, I'm so like you, because I listen, so you guys may not know this about me. If I'm alone, I have music on. Like, I'm always listening to music, like always, you know? I have a little bit more white on my brush. Go back and touch some of these again. Okay, but yeah, I'm a music person for sure. I think too, Mark and I, he loved music, the jukebox, he had a record player. He was like always, I have to tell you, right before, no, it was when he got put on hospice, and he was unconscious for days, and he loves the Beatles, and I put the Beatles up to his ear, and for days. I think I did it for 3 days, and I think people thought I was crazy, and I just sat there, and I was like, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, and I think my daughter, I just got a little bit too light in there. My daughter may have videotaped this, but he started bobbing his head. I'm not even kidding. And he woke up and he started bobbing his head to the Beatles song. I was like, oh my goodness. He loved music so much. But see how you can just go right back in with the black if you use a little bit of, you know, too much of your light and your bright. I don't like touching up the ends when it's just white behind there. If there's like a sky color behind there or something, it's so much easier to do, okay? So, okay, so tell me, for the list for next time, I'm gonna go back this way. Oh, I'm gonna blind you here, hold on. For the list for next time, tell me, like, I'll look up the flowers. I'm gonna make the schedule for the next month. I'll look up the flowers, but I do think waterfalls. Do you wanna do some waterfalls and landscapes? Music is the cure. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it was really something to see. And then we had him a little bit longer, and I was so grateful, you know. But it was so sweet, I'm telling you. We couldn't get upstairs, so we had him sitting like in the library. We put, you know, his bed in there and stuff, and I just constantly sang and held his hand and danced and stuff. And then I'm gonna start crying, so I'm gonna have to quit talking. But it was really something about the music. the music. It was like the whole time he was sick. It was something. But birds too. Luann, you want more birds? I love that. I love painting birds, you know? Okay, the mind is powerful for sure. Yes, waterfalls. Okay. So if you guys think of anything else, email me, okay? And I can start adding them into the Technique Tuesdays, okay? And sometimes we can jump on more than that. Next week, you're going to have me twice. I feel so bad that I didn't get this out for you guys when I was sick. So I'm so sorry. So on Tuesday and Thursday, I'll break that into 2 parts and we'll do that. We did 2 Valentine's Day events and these came out beautiful. And Debbie didn't have video either. She did a really nice job. I was very proud of her. And the other one was, we brought it back from like 2 or 3 years ago, was a Valentine's Day stroll because we had requests for that and it came out really nice too. I love to see the couples paint together. I missed both of those when I was sick, but I love to see the pictures. Rocks. Okay, pansy. I do know what that is. I like this. On a rock walkway. I can definitely show you that, Eve. I like to paint rocks too. I used to do rocks and oils a little bit more. And so we can definitely do that in acrylics. Perspective, making things the right size in a landscape. We can definitely work on that too. I love the ideas. Awesome. Reflections. I love reflections also. She did do a good job, Halloween. Like, I'm really impressed with Debbie. She's fantastic. Reflections, I love to paint reflections also. These are great ideas. I'm going to write them all down when we get off. And if you need anything, you let me know. I'll be getting the schedule ready. I'm going to film one of these 2 tonight and the other one after I get home from, I miss my Cray kids. So it's the first time I went 2 weeks without seeing them. And I miss them terribly. So I wrote one of their teachers today. I'm like, I can't wait for tomorrow. We're going to do mosaics tomorrow. And then I'm going to come home and film the other one. So usually I have all these films like in the first week of the month. So, but Kathy's on a roll tonight. She is, I know. Too funny. You guys are great. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you need anything, like I said, just let me know, okay? I always love painting with you. I'm going to make the list. We'll get it done, okay? We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to see you on Tuesday, okay? Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We'll make it like about an hour each night, I think. A little over an hour. You know, I always go over. And then the next week, we'll start on all the techniques, okay? All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Thanks for having me. Talk to you later. Bye.